Hello everyone, it's Chrissy from Chrissy's Beautiful Life. I am here with day 3 of 30 Days of Sketches series 14, and this sketch was created by Vanessa Bell. I've been on a few design teams with her. She is fabulous and super creative. You can find her on Instagram and YouTube. I will have both of the links down below for you so you can check out her style and all the gorgeous layouts she's got available for you to see. And what I love about this sketch is it gives you the opportunity for multiple photos, mixed media if you want to get into that. And if you have followed me for any amount of time, you know I love a good visual triangle. And Vanessa has that right there in the sketch with those hearts. And yeah, this sketch absolutely has my heart because it's got that visual triangle going on. Now, I saw some themes in this one, and so I'm going to try and explain those, and hopefully this all flows seamlessly. We will see how it works. The first theme that I saw is that the idea of taking on one color in the mixed media background. So the blue or yellow or, you know, that type of shade, but only having one color as the main background mixed media, and then your embellishments and your photos in whatever orientation you have going on top of that. So there was a lot of kind of like watery blue colors, definitely saw a pop of yellow and pink in there. There was a ton. So I definitely saw that as kind of one of the first themes when scrolling through. The other thing that I then saw was the idea of, instead of being one color, it was multiple colors and looked almost like paint stripes. That came up a lot. So either it's in the same like color tones or they're just very well defined, but it was mixed media done by hand in that lovely paint striped effect. And that came up time and time again, which I just thought was so lovely. Sometimes it was like paint splattering down, like when you get your brush really wet and then it falls down. I saw that a couple times. But that idea of really bold and noticeable paint stripes were there. That then flowed into the fact that I saw a lot of people who maybe you aren't into mixed media, that is not your thing. And so instead they were smart in the fact that they used a pre-mixed media background, which means something that you bought like Vicky Bouton or 49th and Market, or I mean on and on. And again, there's lots of different companies that make pattern papers that look like they've already had mixed media on there. And that was very, very well utilized. A lot. And a lot of times those are great base because then you can add your own mixed media if you want anything, and it just kind of sets you up for success because you can take away, maybe you don't have the time to do mixed media, and it takes that part out of it for you, and you can just build on top of what's already existing. Another theme I saw was completely taking out the idea of mixed media at all, and instead using a really bold, quote unquote, busy pattern paper. I loved this. I loved this. I saw quite a few fun themes. There was a zoo themed. I saw a really bold floral. There was one like that kind of notebooky paper. There was so many that used a nice bold piece of pattern paper and then built their layout on top of it and following the rest of the sketch. I then saw where it would be almost the opposite of that. So instead of doing bold, they kind of kept with a white base and then either did mixed media or whatever have you on top of it and created their layouts, just kind of taking away the idea of there needing to be a ton of color and putting the color in with maybe the embellishments or something along those lines. And those are always some of the most eye-popping to me. I love a good white base and then your layout put on top of that. And that came up time and time again. Another thing I saw, which I thought was really fun, was the idea of taking the pattern paper and turning that into where you saw the mixed media. So like for stripes or just lots of different options. There is one where they look like branding strips, and she just used tons of branding strips and made little lines or little columns on them, and it was banners. They were gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. One is banners across, and all of it. I just loved the idea of being able to use that. Maybe wasn't feeling mixed media that day, maybe you don't like mixed media, and this was a great way to get that idea, but utilizing your pattern paper. We had a few that just made the sketch work for them, and I mean, maybe if you glanced at it, you wouldn't even notice it was from this sketch. There was a few that I saw pop up of that, but they are all beautiful. And I see the little hints where they came from, where the inspiration was. They're there, but they absolutely made the sketch work for them, and it looks fabulous. So many great options here. And then the last thing I thought I would share is the ones that I found were just absolutely looked like the sketch. Like, you see the layout, you see the sketch, and you're like, yep, that's where that came from. And there were a few that I felt were like almost exact quote unquote scrap lifts, of course with their own twists, because we're all so different. And I definitely wanted to highlight those as well because they're beautiful. So a bunch of different themes or styles, I guess, but I kept seeing a few of them repeated over and over and over again, and I just thought that was really neat. But the idea of kind of the paint stripes and the rainbow and all of that, it just kept being repeated. It's gorgeous, you guys. These layouts are just top notch. I love scrolling through all of these. They always make me smile, and how everyone kind of interprets things just a little bit differently. That's what I love about this community. So thank you so much for being willing to share. Finally, before I forget, in case they haven't popped up, also the ones that took the 12 by 12 and turned it into an 8.5 by 11 or a double page, because you do not have to make the sketch fit the size that it is. You can always manipulate it into the size that you prefer to scrapbook. Okay, there you have it. I think that was 109 layouts that I shared. Some of them probably were repeated because they fit different themes, but I definitely wanted to get those all in there. So I hope you all have a fabulous day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye, everyone.